Hi everybody, welcome back to the Distance Learning Program. I'm happy to be here with you today. Thanks for watching. I'm going to continue the last lesson on page 86, and we're going to look at part 2 where it says practice. We're going to start using the words could and should in these examples here. Remember, you use could when you're offering a suggestion or giving someone an idea, and when you want to use a stronger form of advice, you use should. So part 2 says, complete the sentences, use could or should. Number 1, my rent is going up again. What should I do? Here's my advice. You're a good tenant. I think you should talk to your landlord. Look at the question. It says, what should I do? So the person who answers uses should. Part 2, I have to fix my credit. What should I do? You should talk to a debt counselor. He can help you. Number 3, can you suggest a nice restaurant? It's my wife's birthday. And remember, with suggestions, you want to use the word could. So the answer would be, you could try Chow's, or how about Anita's? Number 4, it's my niece's 16th birthday next week. What could I get her? Why don't you get tickets to a concert? Or you could buy her a CD. Number 5, that vocational school is very expensive. I can't afford it. Can you give me any advice? Well, you're a good student. I think you should apply for a scholarship. Number 6, I need a new car. Where do you suggest I look for one? How about looking in the newspaper? Or you could look online. In the question it says, where do you suggest? So with suggestions we use could. Number 7, I just got another parking ticket. It's getting harder and harder to park in this neighborhood. I think you should sell that car. You don't really need it. 8, I'm going to be in New York City in July. Any ideas for things to do? So when you're giving ideas, these are for suggestions, and you can use the word could. Well, you could see a Broadway show, or you could walk in Central Park, or you could go to a museum. There are so many things to do. Now, if you'll turn to the next page, page 87, we're going to still be in the Ventures3 book on page 87. So it says, talk with a partner, take turns, read the problems, make suggestions, or give advice. My car broke down. So in this case, if your car breaks down, you might want some ideas about what to do. So the person would give you some suggestions, and he might say, you could take the bus, or you could ask someone for a ride. Number 2, my rent is going up $150. My rent is going up $150. So in this case, you might want to give someone advice as to what to do, and you could say, you should start looking for a new apartment. Or you could say, you should get a part-time job. Number 3, it's getting cold in here. Well, one idea for getting a little warmer would be to turn on the heat. So you could say, you could turn on the thermostat or you could turn on the heat, or you could say you could get a blanket. 4, I can't afford a new washing machine. One suggestion would be you could get a used one. 5, these shoes look terrible. In this case, I would not suggest getting any used shoes, so I would say you should buy some new shoes. Number 6, I don't have enough cash to pay for these groceries. Let's see, what would be a suggestion or what would be some advice if someone doesn't have cash to buy groceries? I would say you should borrow some money because everyone needs to have food. I would say you should borrow some money. Number 7, I got a bad haircut. I would say you shouldn't go back to that barber shop. And number 8, my neighbors are really noisy. In this case, I would say you should ask them to turn down the volume or to be a little more quiet. The next part says, write a suggestion or advice for each picture. Well, since we've already done that, we'll go to part 3. Part 3 says communicate. Work in a small group, make suggestions, or give advice. Now you can do this individually and you can decide whether you would use the word could or the word should. If you want to make a suggestion, you use could. If you want to give advice, you use should. Helene spends too much money on food. Gregory spends too much money on clothes. Teresa spends too much money on rent. Yusef spends too much money on his cell phone plan. And finally, Melinda spends too much money on her car payments. And the last thing I'd like to say about could and should is that you do not pronounce the L in either of these words. It's just could or should. All right, for the second part of the lesson, I'd like to turn to the next page, page 88, and we're still in the Ventures3 book, so just turn to the next page, page 88, and we're going to begin Unit 7C, Gerunds after Prepositions. So we're going to learn how to use gerunds after prepositions. So please follow along with me as I read the grammar focus, questions and answers. I'm going to read the orange box at the top of the page. It says, in, of, about, and for are examples of prepositions. Remember, a preposition is a part of speech. It says we often use prepositions in phrases with adjectives. Excited about, interested in, and verbs, think about. So excited about and interested in show how we use prepositions with adjectives, and think about shows how we use prepositions with verbs. It says gerunds often follow these phrases. That means they come after these phrases. A gerund is the base form of a verb plus ing. And we've talked about gerunds many times. It's very easy to form a gerund. You take the present tense of the verb or the base form of the verb and just add ing to the end. Now, here are some questions using gerunds. It says, what are you thinking about doing? The answer says, I'm thinking about buying a car. So buying is a gerund and it follows the phrase thinking about. Next, what is she afraid of? She's afraid of losing her job. So the gerund is losing, and it's following afraid of. So afraid is an adjective, and of is a preposition. Losing is the gerund that follows that adjective phrase. Next, it says, what are they interested in doing? They're interested in applying for a loan. So the adjective is interested, and applying is the gerund that follows interested in. So you can see how the gerund follows the adjective phrase interested in. Next, let's look at the orange box below. Phrases gerunds often follow. Afraid of, excited about, famous for, good at, happy about, interested in, nervous about, sad about, thank someone for, think about, tired of, worried about. So all of these are phrases that frequently have gerunds following them. It means they come after these phrases. Next, let's look at part 2, where it says complete the sentences, use the correct form of one of the words below. Now, I'm going to read all of these verbs in the gray box, and you can repeat them after me. Apply, find, get, lend, make, move, open, pay, spend, and start. All right, so what we're going to do in this section is we're going to make each of these verbs into gerunds and try to figure out which gerund would be used in the following sentences. I'm going to read the sentences with the correct word in the blank. I'm worried about paying interest on my credit card balance. Rob is afraid of getting into debt. He pays for everything with cash. And remember, to make a gerund out of the verb get, you have to double the final T. So it's G-E-T-T-I-N-G, getting. Number 3, have you thought about opening a checking account? 4, Elizabeth is happy about finding an apartment she can afford. 5, Elena is excited about starting classes at the community college. 6, I'm tired of making payments on my car. 7, Franco isn't interested in applying for a loan. 8, thank you for lending me money for school. 9, we're thinking about moving to a nicer neighborhood. And 10, she's famous for spending a lot of money on clothes. All right, so now let's turn to the next page, page 89. I'm going to begin with part B. It says, talk with a partner, ask and answer questions. The question for part A is, what's she happy about? And the answer is, she's happy about opening a checking account. So you want to make a question out of the adjective phrase, and then you want to answer the question using the second part, but convert that to a gerund. Number 2. It says, what is he thinking about? The answer would be, he's thinking about buying a computer. Number 3, what is he worried about? He's worried about getting into debt. Or you could say he's worried about being in debt. Number 4, what is he interested in? He's interested in studying auto mechanics. 5, what is she tired of? She's tired of waiting in line. 6, what are they excited about? They're excited about buying a new car. 7, what is he sad about? He's sad about losing his phone. 8, what is she nervous about? She's nervous about driving in the snow. All right. Part 3 says communicate. It says work in a small group, ask and answer questions. Now I'm going to read the words in the gray box. Afraid of, bad at, excited about, good at, happy about, interested in, responsible for, and tired of. Now you could work in a small group or with a friend, and you can ask questions and your friend can answer the questions. So one question would be, what are you afraid of? And your friend might answer, I'm afraid of spending too much money. Another question you could ask, what are you excited about? If you would ask that question to me, I would say, I'm excited about having our class restart as soon as the coronavirus is contained. So as soon as people are allowed to go back to class, I would be excited about that. Number 3, what are you happy about? A friend might say, I'm happy about celebrating my 50th wedding anniversary. So you can answer all of these questions individually, and that will conclude our lesson for today. So thank you for being with me again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great day.